Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 10th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. I know this episode's probably not hitting you on the Friday, but hopefully that Friday energy catches you, envelops you, and makes you feel good. My day was good. It was solid. It's just been very long, very wall to wall, but overall solid. So let's go ahead and just do the quick rundown and get into some news. We started off our day pretty textbook. I've still been a little bit slower to get up and get out, but overall, a much better day morning-wise than yesterday. So we'll take it. Clap it up for that. Got to work on time. We love that. But work was slower than it's been. So, I mean, we'll take it. Overall, it's been, I guess, a slow week. Yeah. But, it's been nice to not feel as pressed as it was last week. I even took a couple moments just to kind of force it to yap to, the people in maintenance, just because I kind of just wanted to. The day was kind of dragging in its own way, and I was getting a little bored here and there. So I was like, all right, I'll chat up the guys a little bit, ask a couple of questions. But no, overall, it was a good day, solid day. Post work, though, I wound up having to run an impromptu errand for myself. And I think that's where the day kind of started slipping away, where, now instead of being at the gym at, 4:45, I'm at the gym at 5 after 5. And, that seemed like, okay, not that big, not that important, it's not going to be that big of a deal, not going to be detrimental. And the next thing I knew I just wasn't, I guess, maybe as locked in. I will say, though, the workout went well. We're on our heavy shit, our heavy lift day. And, we were able to get everything up and over. So that was good. No failures. We love that. But I got sidetracked talking to someone, so that was a bit, I don't want to say annoying, it's fine. It's good to have interactions with people. But when I'm on a tight schedule and I know I'm running 2 hours in the gym, I don't really want a lot of dead time, right? So yeah, we got through it though, and then I just realized so instead of getting out at 7:15, I'm getting out at 8:30 something. And I'm like, oh no. So, needless to say, that plus, doing some research for the episode. And then I just got so enthralled by this random game I was watching called The Road to Empress. And this game, it's a crazy game. Essentially, you are starting off as I'll just say a concubine, and your goal is to dialogue your way to becoming empress. And I was like, what? Huh? This is a crazy, I feel like this is a crazy concept, but it's very cool, especially if you're into just, I don't know, a Doki Doki literature club kind of thing, or you're a nerd for history because it's I don't know, a bit of a period piece, if you will. I don't know. I was just I kept getting distracted and realized that I wasn't as locked in, and I was watching that. So, I mean, hey, that might bleed through, and maybe this episode won't be as on in terms of, the news, but hey, so it goes. But yeah, I mean, here we are. It's a little bit before, midnight. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's go ahead and get into some news. I will say a bit of food corner while we are getting ready. I did splurge again, and I got myself a little snack at work. And I got the cheddar Chex Mix. And I'm thinking now, because I've had a hot take about Cheez-Its. And I had, they're not actually Cheez-Its in the Chex Mix bag, but they have cheddar crackers. And maybe I'm changing. I didn't even want to say I was wrong. But I think I'm changing. Maybe I could be pro Cheez-It. Maybe you need to put a box of Cheez-Its in front of me now and see what I do. I'll keep you posted if I get my hands on the actual name brand thing, and if my opinion on the Cheez-It has changed. Because I used to be anti-Cheez-It. I've been anti-Cheez-It, anti-Goldfish. My longtime listeners know it's Christian trauma. It's a long story. Not going to have time to get into that today. But maybe enough time has passed, and I'm ready to accept the Cheez-It now as a staple snack. Who knows? Who could say? Actually, not a staple snack. I'm really not that into Cheez-Its. But, maybe so. Maybe things are changing. I might like it. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the startup. Sorry, I'm yapping. I will say, though, nothing beats, in terms of Chex Mix, the OG is the best one. I'm not, there's not a, like, I'm not debating you on that. That to me, that's a fact. Because I will say the detriment of the cheese pack was that instead of the rye piece that you get cheddar cracker. And I'm like, I mean, that's fine. I'll take it. But I much rather would prefer the rye piece for sure. Take out the little squirrely stick thing. I hate that thing. Such an unnecessary piece in the Chex Mix. Easily the worst one. They always put it in, though. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We're off to a rip-roaring start. I know. All right, our first story comes from ABC News. Multiple people dead, 19 unaccounted for in devastating blast at explosives manufacturer in Tennessee. Multiple people are dead following a devastating blast at an explosives manufacturing plant in Tennessee on Friday, as a desperate search and rescue effort is ongoing, according to authorities. The explosion occurred Friday morning at Accurate Energetic Systems in McEwen. I'm sorry, I'm getting this wrong. McEwen. We're going to say McEwen. Located about 50 miles west of Nashville. Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis confirmed there are some fatalities, though he did not provide a specific number. 19 people are unaccounted for in the blast, he said. It's probably been one of the most devastating situations that I've been on in my career, Davis said during a press conference update Friday afternoon, getting emotional. I always wish for the best. Is there a possibility that somebody might be injured somewhere or somebody that we don't know about? Yes, he later said regarding the missing individuals. Authorities were continuing to search the property Friday afternoon for those unaccounted for. The response remains a rescue effort, according to Davis, who said they want to exhaust every asset before it becomes recovery. 4 to 5 people were brought to hospitals, according to the sheriff, who did not provide details of their injuries. Asked to describe the building where the explosion occurred, Davis said, "There's nothing to describe. It's gone." The sheriff said during an earlier briefing that this is a very big investigation. This is not going to be something that we're going to be like a car wreck or something like that we're just going to clean up the debris and leave. We're probably going to be here for a few days. We're going to scroll ahead a bit here. Let's see. The cause of the explosion remains under investigation. So really not a lot of details as of right now. But the explosion did occur at 7:48 a.m. local time and destroyed one of the facility's buildings. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to pull at this time. No, they do have some testimonials and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be coming back to the story when we find out what caused the explosion. I'm very curious about that. But obviously condolences to everyone involved in this situation. Any lives lost, that's obviously very sad and unfortunate. Something that's literally just coming out of nowhere. You're going about your Friday business, and if you work here, you're clocking in doing, God knows what. But the next thing you know, boom, and that's it. So that's crazy. Anyway, starting off with a bang, but we're moving on to another story from CNN. U.S. announces it will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. Now, this is a story that I kind of just heard, like, I saw the headline a little bit on my feed, but then I saw more people talking about it, and I was kind of, like, surprised. But then I think people were just like, wait. So we're going to have Qatar. Like, it's not us building an air base in Qatar. No. Been there, done that. It's them building one here? Huh? So I think it just had a lot of people scratching their heads, especially when we just had this whole big ass bravado about like, yeah, America, we're back, we're warriors, American warriors, gotta be the best American warriors. And then we're talking about bringing Qatar over. But I mean, how many ops and things do we have running through Israel where we have like, you know, people going to Israel or Israel, commanders, soldiers, whatever, coming here and training our police or military or whatever, doing like joint training. So it's not that crazy, I guess, when we look at it. Like, you know, these are two allies in the Middle East, if we're being, exact here. But anyway, let's continue. Let's get started, I should say. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announced on Friday that the U.S. will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho, which will host Qatari F-15 fighter jets and pilots who will train alongside U.S. troops. The location will host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase the lethality, and interoperability. Bro loves saying lethality, Pete Hegseth said during a meeting with his Qatari counterpart. I'm fucking this up and I'm so sorry. Saud bin Abdulrahman Al Thani at the Pentagon. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to say Al Thani. Which I remember hearing this name actually recently because The Daily, they recently did a whole thing talking about just Qatar, especially because they just got blown up recently by Israel. Speaking of who I just mentioned earlier. So yeah, they had kind of come to the fore, and they were talking about a guy like Al-Thani and what he's been doing, what he's been up to. But yes, it's just another example of our partnership, and I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us. Also, if I'm getting that wrong, it might not have been The Daily, it might have been The Journal. Y'all know I listen to a lot of news shit. Y'all know I listen to a lot of fucking podcasts. But anyway, the announcement of the deal comes just weeks after Trump signed an executive order for the U.S. to guarantee the security of Qatar, a significant commitment to a non-NATO Arab ally. Israel had bombed Qatar several days earlier as part of an operation against Hamas officials living in Doha, but sources said that the plan to build the Qatari facility has been in the works for several years, dating back to the previous administration. Now, I'm glad that they mention it and they go out of their way to tell you this was not a happenstance thing. This did not just come out of nowhere, because my ass definitely thought that. Like, just thinking at like, well, the series of events here, Israel does the big thing of fucking bombing Qatar, and I believe a Qatari citizen was murdered in that, or died in that, whatever, however you want to word it. I think you should say murdered, though. And essentially, we had the whole humiliation ritual, which was Benjamin Netanyahu coming to the United States. And I got more details that apparently Trump got on the phone with Qatar, then put the phone up to Benjamin Netanyahu's ear and said, say sorry, talk to them. Which, once again, that was such a big turnaround moment, and I didn't really realize that. And I think maybe it's a bit speculative to say, but I've heard other news outlets and people kind of make this deduction of well, that could have been a big inflection point on why we're even here in terms of the peace talks and the ceasefire talks. Is that okay? Israel fucked up royal here. And they kind of knew that, and, you didn't get your guy. And now, ball's back in the U.S. court, because it's okay, we have to clean up your mess. How are we going to clean up your mess? And essentially doing a lot of talking, a lot of huddling up, and they go, maybe we could just push for it now. And I think Trump's yeah, let's do that. And the administration has been pushing and trying to make this all fucking happen. Now, I mean, how concrete this is about to be, time's only going to tell. We'll see what happens in the days and weeks to come. But it does look like maybe, and once again, might be speculative to say, from that moment of Israel doing that bombing, doing that, that strike, we now have come to this point where Trump was like, okay, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make this peace push. But once again, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is drawn from that moment. Like I was wanting to think up until this point of reading this article. Like this goes back to the Biden administration. They had this kind of deal set up, which makes sense. Like Qatar has been an ally like that for a while with us. And, we're kind of pushing on that, working on that. And, one of our many fingers in the pie that is the Middle East here and, internationally. So I love that for us. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll ahead. And a U.S. official said the agreement with Qatar is routine and something the Air Force has done for decades with other partner nations, including Germany and Singapore. So, yeah, I mean, that's true. I've heard also stories of us training people from Ukraine. They come here, we give them training, But, I mean, getting a whole U.S., or getting a whole base in the U.S., that's pretty major. But once again, the deal that we have working with Qatar seems and feels very major and very working and ongoing. Hegseth later said on Friday, wrote in a post on X, the U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, including today's announced cooperation with F-15 QA aircraft, emphasizing there will be no Qatari-owned base in the U.S. So they're building it, but not owning it. That's interesting. Nice little stipulation here. Now, I almost missed this part. I'm glad I caught it. But a close ally of Donald Trump, far-right activist Laura Loomer, has posted on X more than a dozen times since the deal was announced, calling it outrageous, an abomination, and a betrayal. Laura Loomer, our favorite Islamophobe, I always find it so interesting that, like, she gets so close to Trump. Like, she has so much influence, like, on this administration. But at the same time, she will often, like, put herself at, like a point that seems that it would compromise that greatly. But she doesn't care. Like, she has her own interests. And once again, hating anyone from the Middle East, unless they are from Israel, is definitely, like, part of her modus operandi. So she's like, yeah, I'm not changing. I don't care that you guys are doing this deal. I think it's a bad deal, and I don't want them here. And it's like, wow. It's crazy that you can be that racist, that you're willing to, like, fuck up your political career that's already, you would think, like, kind of come from the brink time and time again. And you're like, nah, it's cool. This is my brand. I got to do me. I'll give Laura Loomer her credit on that. She does not compromise. At least I haven't really seen it. Not much of it. More times than not, she just cries about being a persecuted person. It's like, no, man, people are clocking you for being an evil piece of shit. And, like, there used to be a time where that would get you kicked off of social media, but, not anymore. But yeah, here we are. Laura Loomer's not a fan. She hates it. But Hegseth praised Qatar for playing a significant role or substantial role in the peace talks that led to a ceasefire and hostage swap deal between Israel and Hamas, as well as the Gulf country support when the U.S. struck Iranian nuclear sites in June. Qatar is also home to the largest U.S. military base in the region at Al Udeid. Or I'm sure, me bad. The Qatar facility specifically has been in the works for several years. A 2022 announcement from Mountain Home Air Force Base, published while President Joe Biden was in office, provided the results of an environmental assessment looking at the potential impacts associated with the bed down of a U.S.-led Qatari Emiri Air Force F-15 QA squadron at the base. So yeah, I mean, this has been in the works for a while. The bed down is facilities for training squadron operations, the U.S. official said, providing space for the pilots to train, brief, do their scheduling, and more. The countries who send pilots as part of this program provide the U.S. funds through foreign military sales to build the facilities, the official added. And the military hires community labor around the bases to build them out. So that's the setup there. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting new development. Is it surprising? No. But worth mentioning, though, because I didn't mention that in the deal. But, or maybe I did, just in terms of the hostage swap, being initiated in terms of, like, no, I did mention that. I think we're good. I'm just in the weeds here because, like, yeah, Palestinian prisoners are being released, as well as in the hostages that are living. They're just looking for them, and then also they're looking for any that might be who have passed away, who have been killed, whatever. And I'm trying to think here. But they're still looking in terms of, well, we can only find so many. Also, with all of the strikes and the bombings, it's hard to find people who are literally buried under like rubble and debris and whatnot. So yeah, there's that. I was trying to think if there was anything else I missed with that deal. Probably so, but I'm sure we will be revisiting it. All right, let's move along. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of in the weeds here. But I did stipulate that this is going to be maybe a little bit looser episode. All right. Our next story is from Al Jazeera. Peru's Congress votes to remove President Boluarte as crime grips nation. Peru's Congress has voted to remove President Dina Boluarte, among the world's most unpopular leaders, in a late-night session called hours after political parties from across the spectrum demanded her impeachment as the nation fights an intensive crime wave. Politicians voted late on Thursday to debate Boluarte's removal from office on grounds of moral incapacity and summoned her to defend herself before Congress at 11:30 p.m. She never arrived, and lawmakers had sufficient votes to proceed with a rapid impeachment process shortly after midnight, with 124 voting in favor of removing her. Boluarte did not have a vice president to replace her, so Congress President Jose Geri had been sworn in as the country's new president. Reporting from Lima, Al Jazeera's Marina Sanchez said lawmakers had decided to vote in favor of Boluarte's removal because she had been very disrespectful in not heeding their summons. Her removal continues a revolving door of leaders in the Andean nation, which has had 6 presidents since 2018, plunging the country into what Sanchez called another political crisis, just 6 months ahead of the next presidential election. Sanchez noted that the newly installed President Geri has faced rape accusations. So that's a bummer. That's unfortunate. Just a revolving door of fucking nasty, evil people. But that's politics, baby. I think I do want to mention, though, I'm looking at a video prompt thing, and the thumbnail, it's a picture of Boluarte, like, as a demon. And then, like, on the far right, there is a picture of the One Piece, like, Jolly Roger. I'm not a One Piece enjoyer. You caught me. I only watch, like, Gear 5 Luffy. But I've noticed that that's become a thing. It's a trend where, like, the Gen Z protesters, they fuck with One Piece. They fuck with it heavy, which I get. I do at least understand the premise and the synopsis, and it's like, they're cool pirates. They ate the fruit, and now they can do stuff. They got the gum fruit. They just can't swim. Anyway, I do like that something like this has been, like, branded as, like, a revolution symbol. You know, this is, like, a sign of the rebellion, and I think that is kind of fucking sick. I fuck with that vibe. I fuck with that energy. The youth, they got it. At least for that shit. Let's see. Let's keep reading. The stunning turn of events came just hours after a shooting at a concert in the capital inflamed anger over crime roiling the South American nation. Legislators had voted to accept 4 requests to remove Boluarte from office over what they said was her government's inability to stem crime. Unlike 8 previous attempts to remove her, almost all legislative factions expressed support for the latest requests, including right-wing parties that have historically supported her. Boluarte, 63, is deeply disliked, with approval ratings between 2% and 4%, following accusations that she has illicitly profited from her office. She came to power in December of 2022 as her predecessor, President Pedro Castillo, under whom she served as vice president, was ousted and arrested after he attempted to dissolve Congress. And that was where we started covering her a little bit on and off. I think we might have covered maybe like one of the times they tried to vote to get her out. But yeah, it seems like things have not improved in Peru, and nor for Boluarte. Castillo's removal was met with months of widespread deadly protests, particularly in rural and indigenous communities, with Boluarte's government accused of using excessive force to repress them. All right, so that's all we have for that story. I will keep you posted on potentially what comes next if and when I hear about it. But all right, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we gotta go back to France. We gotta go back to Gay Paris. Yeah, an update on the Prime Minister situation. But yeah, let's take our last break. Oh, I think I didn't mention that was a bit of thorn for the day. I woke up today, and I blame this solely on the seasonal changes happening, especially so aggressively like they are wont to do, especially in a place like Ohio, where you have like 80-degree temperatures one day, and then the next you're just like in the like 50s and 60s or whatever. I woke up this morning with just my throat shut. Like I just couldn't talk. I was just like hoarse sandpaper. I felt terrible. And I was like, uh-oh, am I getting sick? Am I getting gross right now? And I said, Isaiah, you already know what time it is. You already know what season it is. Let's like drink some water. Let's get hydrated and let's see how the day goes. And sure enough, we get to about the middle of the day and I'm like, okay, it's warmer out right now. I've gotten some water in me. I'm much better. I think just with my asthma and just the seasonal changes in general, they always get me. I always get jammed up. I think that was another reason too. Last night, like, I be yapping, but like it felt like I was losing my voice like faster than I should have, and I was like, oh, that's no good. That's not good. But I feel like overall, now I'm feeling much better. But man, I really hate the seasonal changes. So that was the start of my day, and then at the gym, I randomly had another moment, and this is, I think, another reason why the gym session went a little bit longer as well. My stomach was hurting, and not like in the, oh, I have a tummy ache, oh, I ate something funny, because I was thinking, I'm like, what's causing this? And it was some kind of like cramping or something, I don't know, but my stomach was just not okay for about 20 minutes or so, and I was like finishing up my weight training, getting into the cardio part, and I was just kind of stun locked, and I was just like, I gotta get up and get on the Stairmaster. It just didn't feel good, didn't feel great. So yeah, it's been a day, but once again, I do want to stress this was a good day. I was a bit depressed, a bit upset yesterday, and today has been much better. So I don't know why I'm knocking on wood for that. Clap it up for that. Whatever. You feel me. Anyway, let me finish my break. Oh, buddy. All right. From the BBC. Macron reappoints Lecornu as French PM after days of turmoil. Guess who's back again. Cornu's back. Okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. All right. President Emmanuel Macron has asked Sebastien Lecornu to return as French Prime Minister only 4 days after he stood down from the post, sparking a week of high drama and political turmoil. Macron made the announcement late on Friday, hours after meeting all the main parties together at the Elysee Palace. I think it's Elysee Palace. Maybe I'm saying that funky, but the Elysee Palace. We're gonna say Elysee Palace. I feel dumb. I feel silly. Except the leaders of the far right and the far left, of course. Lecornu's return came as a surprise, as he said on national television only 2 days ago he was not chasing the job and his mission is over. And it's like, psych, I'm actually back. I mean, like, it is surprising because it was already weird that like he had said, okay, I quit, I resign. And then Macron was like, dude, can you at least Like, can you at least stay till Wednesday? Try until Wednesday, and then let's touch base and go from there. And I guess from Wednesday, he's like, bro, you gotta stay. I got nobody. Like, I'm holeless right now. I got no bitches. I got no crypto. I only have you, and I need you to stay and get something done. Which I don't think they have a real plan here. I think that you just Lecornu is, I think, his last shot maybe before he goes, I have to like maybe concede and get somebody else. They don't want to have another like big vote or anything like that. They're trying to avoid that too at this point. Let me go ahead and read a little bit further. The LSA said the president had tasked Lecornu with forming a government, and Macron's entourage indicated that he had been given carte blanche to act. Let's see here. I do want to read this too. This annoyed me for some reason. When he appeared on French TV this week, Lecornu described himself as a soldier monk. And and as he prepared to get to grips with forming a government, he said on Friday, I will do everything to succeed in this mission. Like, he's trying to, like, I guess, pump himself up and, like, really be like, I got this. Like, I'm the one for the job. I'm actually that dude. When everyone hates him. And like I said, I think that they are really looking at him like the dog who knew he wasn't up for the job, left with his tail between his legs, and now is scurrying back. Like, it's like, no, dude, we don't want you, man. Like, this is like, boo this man. Political divisions over how to bring down France's national debt and cut the budget deficit have led to the fall of 2 of the past 3 prime ministers in the last year. So his challenge is immense. And I don't think he's up for the job. They're talking numbers here. I will say it was worth mentioning that it does seem like maybe harder deals might be like up for grabs. Here, I found this highlighted portion here. In an attempt to court the left, Macron's team indicated the president was considering a delay to part of his highly contentious pension reforms passed in 2023, which raised the retirement age from 62 to 64. I mean, this is some shit that had people in France outside burning trash cans and shit. And I don't blame them. You know what I mean? Having to give up more of your twilight years to fucking work is a fucking joke. It's a drag. And as an American, I know good and damn well how that feels. I know I'm probably gonna be working until I'm in the grave. Like, what am I saying? Oh, until I'm 70. If I'm lucky, like it's gonna look terrible by the time I'm up for retirement. So, once again, these are the things I think you should be fighting over. That being said, though, he's not just courting the people on the far left. If anything, I think they're trying to chip more people away on the right and make concessions in that regard. So maybe not give someone the prime ministership. I think that was something that they fought over in the first place. But they might be willing to make concessions in that regard to make it happen, to get this budget, hammered out. So they have something. Let's see. I mean, so we don't know. We shall see. But I felt like this was a relevant update that he literally came back. Like, I don't think this is a move. I think he should have stayed gone, our little soldier monk. I think he should have went into exile. Found a monastery or something. But nope, he's gonna come back and try to run this drill, run this plan, complete the mission. I don't know. I think he's gonna fail, but I mean, I'm up for surprises. All right, that's it. That's all I really have for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Let's see. Follow me on TikTok. I usually say YouTube first. Yeah, like me, like and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts. Let's see, like I said, leave a like, comments, cool comments, hopefully. Thank you very much. And sharing is caring. All the stars are appreciated on the Spotify, on the Apple Podcast. And I just appreciate you listening regardless of whether you do those things or you don't do those things. I love you for that. But yes, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.